let's let's start with Claire, if you'll give us the mandala, and Katya, if you'll give us the refuge.
Tashi puki jukshin mitoktra, rira plingshin dengen padi, sange shangdu mikte ulvargi, drokunam dak shangla chupar shok, idam kururatna mandala kamniryata yami.
Tomo refugio hasta que me ilumine en el Buda, Dharma y Sangha, que a través del mérito acumulado por la práctica de las perfecciones, tales como el dar, pueda yo alcanzar la budeidad en beneficio de todos los seres. Tomo refugio hasta que me ilumine en el Buda, Dharma y Sangha, que a través del mérito acumulado por la práctica de las perfecciones, tales como el dar, pueda yo alcanzar la budeidad en beneficio de todos los seres. Tomo refugio hasta que me ilumine en el Buda, Dharma y Sangha, que a través del mérito acumulado por la práctica de las perfecciones, tales como el dar, pueda yo alcanzar la budeidad en beneficio de todos los seres.
Thank you. Okay, let's rejoice. Let's start with Tatiana.
Dear Lama, Tatiana wrote in the chat that she can't speak and can't turn on her cam, but she will listen the class. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll rejoice that she can listen to class. Okay, Daria, what do you have to rejoice in?
Morning, Lamas. Sumati. I'm sorry, I won't say Lama Sarani, but say no, Lamas Sumati.
I know, we look alike.
Yeah, I rejoice. Now I have vacation, and before vacation, I started getting sick and think, okay, hold on, please. When you have a vacation, you can sick. And now I'm on vacation and I have temperature and cold, and it's okay. But I'm happy because in my work we have two psychologists, and if I go to the sick list, she stayed only one, and we have a lot of children, and I'm happy I did it.
Well, I hope you feel better.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, who's next? Let's go with Anna.
Hello, one more, dear Lama Sumati and dear Sangha. About my rejoicing, I want to rejoice that I today found time for yoga, and it was pretty long class, like 40 minutes. I'm happy that I try to manage my schedule in this way and incorporate yoga in my life as much as I can. So I hope for other people also will be available some physical movement, maybe dancing, yoga, stretching, anything, even walking, also beautiful. And yes, birds outside of your house, it's something incredible. Yeah. I hear previously from some maybe teachings that birds, it's something very special in Dharma teachings. It means a very good sign, like good energy or something like this. So incredible, very beautiful. For me, very beautiful. Thank you.
Well, what you're hearing is either a mockingbird or a curved bill thrasher. The curved bill thrasher imitates the mockingbird. So, yeah, it's lovely. Curved bill thrasher sings at night. The mockingbird, I don't think, does. So, okay. Katya, what do you have to rejoice in?
Hi, I want to rejoice in being ethical in my work because since it involves administration and tax payments, sometimes some people wants to avoid certain payments or pay less taxes. So I have to be like more aligned with the administration and do the correct things.
What do they say when you say, sorry, you can't do that?
They say like, oh no, maybe we can try. Like some people do it, and a lot of arguments. So, but I say like the correct thing is another thing.
Yeah. Do you lose clients because of that?
No,
No, good.
because now I have like more clients that are also in Dharma here in Guadalajara. The Sangha reached me out, so yeah.
Oh, good. Well, that makes very good sense. How's your sister doing?
Great, she's very good, thank you.
Good. I haven't seen her for a while.
No.
Okay. Claire, what do you have to rejoice in?
Hello, dear Lama Sumati. Yeah, I'd like to rejoice that these 2 days, like yesterday and today, we are celebrating Easter, that Jesus Christ raised, and that is such a beautiful celebration, beating the death. And after celebrating yesterday this holiday with my family, we had an amazing meeting with you and Lama Sarani, and it was very touching. And I rejoice that we have you in our lives, the Lama Sumati and the Lama Sarani, and wish you long, long life. Please stay and keep teaching us.
Well, we're doing our best, even if I don't look like Lama Sarani. Okay. Lydia, you're up next.
Hello, dear Lama Sumati. First of all, today it's the birthday of my dog. He is 10 years old, and we will celebrate after this class with all our family. And second, I rejoice that I have a karmic partner for 6-time book because I have troubles with that. So we start to do it regularly, not 6 times, but it's more than before.
Did you do a Easter egg hunt with Sophia?
Yes, we did
Did
it.
she
but,
have fun?
Yes, but my husband did it. He took the eggs and he didn't hide it like it's hard to find. He just put it everywhere. But it was, he wanted to eat, I think, very fast. But it was fun. I have a video, a small video and a photo. I can send it to you.
Oh, please send it to me, yeah. No, the idea is to hide them, so it's a little bit difficult to find.
Yes, but so
oh, good. Now
time.
you started a new tradition, and every year you can do that until she gets. I still like Easter egg hunts, so you can never be too old. So, okay, my turn. I've been facing some real difficulties with either my mind or my computer or both. And I try and send the notes that I'm going to teach from to the translators so they have plenty of time to translate. And it turns out what I sent for this class has so many mistakes in it, I'm quite embarrassed. And I don't know how that's happening. But I'm not mad. I'm trying to find a solution. And I hope it's not that I'm starting to decline mentally, but we'll find out, I guess, soon enough. What else is there? So, my bike, my new quadricycle bike should be coming at the end of the week. I'll believe it when I see it. But I'm really looking forward to getting back into some good exercise. What else?
Lama, you have a lake near your house for quadricycle or
A lake? No.
it's for mountain, it's not for water.
Yeah. No, it's not for water.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's for
It's a
mountain.
four-wheel
Okay.
bike instead of a three-wheel, which is too tippy. You believe me, you'll get a picture of me on the bike as soon as I can.
Cool.
What else? It's getting more difficult for me to do things because of my posture. I am working. I have a physical exercise I do every day, but I really need to figure out how to solve this posture problem. And my dexterity, I'm not as good with my fingers anymore. Cooking's becoming more difficult. But my wife is pleading with me to keep cooking for longer because she doesn't want to start cooking. So, but I'm not discouraged. I'm just becoming more realistic that things are going to progress, and I just have to be. I can't surrender to them. So, I know. I have a standing desk where it moves up and down so I can stand or sit at the desk, and it was in its highest position, and I pulled on it to get up, and it almost toppled over, which would have been a disaster. So Carlos is going to help me rig up a better, more stable set of legs for it. So I rejoice that I didn't make it fall over. And I'm going to the trouble to make the change in its setup because as I get worse in my memory, I may forget and pull on the desk to get up. And if I put the restraints on it that I'm going to, it'll stop it from toppling. So I think Carlos came up with a great idea for that. So, what else? Oh, the Tiger Rider. That was, we enjoyed that. I think we made it clear to our students that there are obligations that you'll have if you decide to do the Tiger Rider, but that it's okay if you decide not to. We love being your sutra teachers and being in your lives. So we don't think any more of students that decide to do the tantric course. We're happy the ones that have decided to do it, but again, anybody who just wants to stay in sutra is still practicing the Dharma, and that's the important thing. So, okay, class. Let's go through the answer key for class 2. People who seek to establish the meaning of the two truths or realities can broadly be divided into two types. Name them and briefly describe what they believe. The group that believes that things work normally, which perform a function, exist truly. This is a combination of the detailist, sutrist, and mind-only schools. They say that a thing is real or true when it can do something, and therefore it cannot ever be said to be untrue or unreal. Those of the middle way school say that no object has any nature of its own. Things are blank without any quality or characteristic of their own, and we only see in them what our past karma forces us to see. As we're going to see in today's class, as we discuss this, it seems like the functionalist school doesn't listen very carefully. And, oh, by the way, I found a mistake in the student notes, which is rare for me, but I found one. Anyway, So, next question. Name and describe the extremely essential division in the two kinds of persons who result from these two viewpoints. They're the realized or extraordinary beings, the Aryas, that have seen emptiness directly. They're definitely on their way out of the suffering life and are therefore called stream enterers. Ordinary beings, such as also known as children or nearsighted, those who have not seen emptiness directly. Is there any distinction between those that have seen emptiness directly? Everyone that sees emptiness directly has the same experience of the actual perception, of direct perception. But if you're on the Bodhisattva track, you will then have bodhicitta burst into your life. And if you're not, so it's not that you see emptiness differently, it's what happens after you have emptiness, see the direct perception of emptiness. State the basic misconception behind the wrong idea that if things do something, then they must be real as we see them. The misconception is the idea that the two truths cannot coexist, thinking that if functional things have no nature of their own, they must not exist at all. And if things do exist, then they must exist with some nature of their own. And this is where it seems to me the functionalists are not listening carefully. When we say something's unreal, well, we'll get to that in class. I want to wait till then. Explain why good and bad deeds are like an illusion and yet still function perfectly well. They work just as well as we thought they did before we found out they were illusory, because the illusion doesn't make them unreal. It means we're seeing them in a way different than what they present to us. They function perfectly well to produce the bodies of a Buddha. Name the two kinds of nirvana and describe them briefly. Natural nirvana, the natural state of nirvana for all things, is a fact they are devoid of any nature of their own. It's not a real nirvana. Nirvana that occurs through circumstances. The nirvana that consists of becoming free of all the impurity of mental afflictions, and that must be achieved through the circumstance of utilizing the path to cut off the process which, in a stream of birth and rebirth and death, a person circles around in the cycle of suffering. Why would someone think that if the middle way teaching is true, then the Buddha must be wandering around in the circle of suffering life? They know that the circle of suffering life is also said by the middle way to have its own natural nirvana, meaning its emptiness. They mistake this for an actual kind of nirvana and say that there must be one thing which is both nirvana and the circle of suffering life. Therefore, a Buddha who is in nirvana must be in the circle. So this is where the functionalists, which is, they aren't really schools populated by students. We go over this quite often and repeat it. They're concepts, they're ways of thinking. We have to be careful we're not thinking the actual people. Okay, Guide to Bodhisattva's Way of Life. Part 3. Class 3, The Idea of the Illusion. I will send these corrected notes, Claire, and I guess you'll have for the Russian students. Well, we don't have that many Russian students. We don't have many students, so I guess it won't be a problem. Okay, so Lord Buddha taught the wrong way of looking at things to lead us to the right way. This has always driven me nuts. I just want the right way. I don't want to get all the stuff on the other side. But I do see the importance of teaching the wrong way of thinking, because I have often slipped into the wrong way of thinking. So if I can identify that I've slipped, then that's very helpful. The enlightened mind knows what our mind needs and what we should give up and what we should take up. I think that's a really important thing to remember. The lower schools complain that the highest school says that nothing has any nature of its own. So the lower school thinks that means nothing is real. What they forget is that we continue on to say things are real, just not the way we think they are. The eyeball takes in the data, colors, and shapes. The optic nerve transmits it to the brain. Because the eyeball doesn't identify anything, it just takes the data and transmits it. The mind then organizes it and overlays it with a luminal image, in this case, the pen. This is what it means to say the pen has no nature of its own. Its pen nature comes from our own mind. That the data has no nature of being a pen until your mind ripened a karmic seed to see it as a pen. So the pen is like an illusion. It appears to be a pen from its own side, out there, but in reality it's just data that your mind makes into a pen. Not every being would see it as a pen, so it can't be a pen from its own side. I think we all agree with that, and we've had that beaten into our brains sufficiently that we can understand that. But it's like an illusion. An illusion, well, we're going to define an illusion in a bit. The illusion is it looks like it's a pen from its own side, that an object is radiating penness. We think everything radiates their nature at us. But it's like a movie, the illusion of 19th century Venice when it is being filmed in 2026. I don't know how many of you watch very many movies, but I always think it's interesting to see a movie from 2000, a quarter of a century old, and look at its production value versus now. And then look at one from 1990, or even better, Princess Bride is self-existently one of the best films on the planet. And you look at it now, and it's a little creaky, it's a little old in the tooth, but it's still wonderful to look at. Okay. So definition of an illusion. The way something appears and the way it really exists are inconsistent. So a good analogy, an illusion, would be a mirage. How many of you have seen a mirage? Nobody? Well, I can't use that very much as an example. I think I related the story of driving to Wilcox one day and driving at just the level of the layer of, what do they call it, inversion layer, and seeing as the road went up and down, I went in and out of this mirage. It was pretty amazing. The ultimate meaning of dependent origination, or how things really exist in the positive aspect, is our eyes see colors and shapes and give that information to the mind, which forms the data into an image, which is then mistaken for the object being out there. There's a more profound meaning of illusion in reference to the direct perception of emptiness. Just prior to it, you've had this direct experience of dependent origination. Experience your mind making images out of raw data. Then, coming out of the direct perception of emptiness, we have directly experienced the empty nature of yourself and all existing things, including the mind. Deceptive reality reasserts itself. Now you know you're seeing things incorrectly. You can't stop yourself just yet. And why can't you stop yourself? Because you have millions and millions of seeds ripening from millions and millions of lives of seeing things incorrectly. So, seeing emptiness directly eliminates that, which is one of the powerful things about it. You also now know you've never before had a correct perception. They've been valid but not correct. What is the definition of a valid perception? A perception unaffected by intense emotion or drugs. Now I say intense emotion, and that's from me. I think you can be stupidly happy and have the same problem that you have when you have intense anger. You can, what's a good example? You can get in your car and go off driving very, very happy and run through a stop sign and hit somebody because you're not paying attention. You can see your happiness as just being something you want to enjoy. And you have to be careful what you do with that exuberance. So, Course 4, Class 1, Page 1. The definition is for a valid perception, not for a correct perception. What is the definition of a correct perception? We see the emptiness of the object as well as the object itself due to our karma ripening. Only a Buddha has correct perception because they can see ultimate and deceptive reality simultaneously. We cannot have a correct perception. We can have a valid perception, but we can't have a correct perception. So why does my mind make a pen out of the data? Because of karma, the ripening results of past deeds. If I want to exist in a world full of wonderful things, I must collect the karma by helping others get what they want. If I want to perpetuate a world of ugly, unpleasant things, then I can continue to act selfishly and harmfully. So the Madhyamikas are saying things are an illusion because they don't have any nature of their own. They appear to do so, but they don't. All of our perceptions have been wrong. They are an illusion. It takes time to stop seeing things incorrectly, even once you know you are in error. When the last karmic seed for having mental afflictions is finally destroyed, it's the day you reach nirvana. When you lose your inborn tendency to see things as self-existent, the subtle obstacle to omniscience, you become a Buddha. You reach nirvana on the 8th bhumi level of the 10 bhumis, and you have the subtle obstacle to omniscience on level 9, and when you eliminate that, you go to level 10, which is a Buddha. So again, the pen is not a pen from its own side. It's not radiating penness. So it is unreal. It's like an illusion. The functionalists say, no, this cannot be the case. It's real because it writes, it functions. Madhyamikas say unusual means it looks like it's coming from, unreal means it looks like it's coming from its own side, but it is not. It's coming from your karma. It's not that it's not there. It's not there the way we think it is. Functions think by what is meant by unreal is that it does not exist as all. Mind-only explanation says that dependent origination means that the pen, my eyes with which I see the pen, and my mind which understands it to be a pen, all depend on the same karmic seed. Because of a certain karma, the pen appeared from causes. I have eyes to see it and a mind that knows what it is and how to use it. That's all according to the functionalist, or mind only. It's coming from the same karmic seed. Mind only asks the Madhyamaka, can you see the pen's illusory nature? And the Madhyamaka says, yes. Intellectually you can see the colors and shapes without the label pen. More profoundly, you can experience directly the mind making a label out of the data. And that's the direct perception of dependent origination. What about the mind itself? The mind is empty of self-nature as well. It is an illusion as well. Everything in deceptive reality is an illusion like that. It works one way, but exists differently. So your mind is an illusion doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in the way we think it does. The mind is not ultimate reality. It is not emptiness. It is an object which has emptiness as its nature. Mind only says, you guys just proved yourselves wrong. If something is an illusion, that means it isn't really true. And that would mean that it couldn't work. We stated that if something works, it is real. It has to be real to perform a function. You Madhyamakas say the mind is an illusion and are saying the mind is unreal and doesn't work. And if there is no mind that can function, then it does not exist at all. If the mind does not exist at all, then no illusion exists. Madhyamika replies, what is your understanding of illusion? We say illusion just means something looks like it exists in one way, but it really exists in a different way. What do you say is an illusion? Mind only says the illusion is the fact that when you look at the pen, it looks like it's coming from its own karmic seed. It looks like it is not coming from the same karmic seed as your eye. You see the object. It looks as if it's coming from two separate karmas, but it's really coming from the same karmic seed in your own mind. It doesn't look like my mind integrating the pen, but it is. So that's the illusion. So mind-only school says we have an illusion. We do have illusion in our understanding. Madhyamika says, well, then I guess you can never see the illusion. Mind only says, why do you say that? Because you say to us, if something is an illusion, it doesn't really exist. So if the pen is an illusion, and that it isn't really existing out there separate from your mind, even though it looks that way, then the pen is not real. If the pen is not real, then the mind cannot exist either, because the subject mind depends upon the objects of perception. Madhyamaka continues, at least we can directly experience the illusioning nature of the pen once our karma ripens to do so. You can and do see the illusion all the time, as long as you leave it without analyzing it. So Madhyamika asks the mind only, what do you mean by dependent origination? Dependent origination is the fact that everything I experience and my experience in them are produced by the same karmic seed. This pen and my seeing this pen are from the same karmic seed. So then what you say emptiness is, the opposite of that? There is nothing that can exist in any other way. That's emptiness for them. There is no pen that could exist that does not depend on the same karmic seed as the one with which we see the pen. So, Madhyamaka, what is dependent origination for you guys? We say that Nagarjuna and Jaisangkapa say. Dependent origination means that the existence of this pen depends on my karma forcing me to organize colors and shapes into a pen. So what is emptiness to you guys? Emptiness is the fact that a pen is empty of any other way of existing. Emptiness for mind only is the fact that something you see or experience and your sight of it or the experience of it appear to come from separate causes, but actually come from the same karmic seed. They believe that both karmic seeds and the mind exist in some way from their own side. So what is wrong with this explanation? Isn't everything in my world coming from my karma? Mind only says that karmic seeds exist in some way with some nature of their own, and they reside somewhere in our minds. This is not true. This school's understanding will take you very close to reaching total enlightenment, but thinking that the mind and karmic seeds have some nature of their own is an obstacle to reaching the ultimate. How can the mind, which is deceived into thinking mental images it is making are the real thing, how can that deceived mind catch itself making a deceptive reality? It's not possible. Madhyamaka asks mind only, how do you explain the mind catching your illusions? Mind only says the mind can perceive itself. Mind can simultaneously watch itself and watch another object. The mind perceives the color blue. There's a part of the mind that is aware of itself seeing the color blue, and the other part of the brain is watching the other part see the blue. Madhyamika doesn't agree and say, prove it. I remember myself seeing the color blue. I must have had no awareness of myself doing so. The next day, I would say I saw the color blue yesterday. How could I remember myself seeing the color blue if I had not been aware of myself doing so at the time? Simultaneous awareness of an object and awareness of the object. So self-perception, the awareness of oneness, is catching yourself seeing the illusion. Self-perception is what confirms, according to the mind school, the existence of both the recognition of the illusion and every other state of mind. Madhyamaka says your mind cannot split into two. Besides, even Lord Buddha said, the mind is the same as the blade of a sword, which could never cut itself. Mind only school says, well then how do you explain how your deceived mind can see its own deception? Madhyamika says, well, we say I saw the pen. Mind only says, how's that different? You must have had two awarenesses, because you say I and you say saw the pen. So you're saying the same thing as we are. There are two awarenesses. Then Madhyamika responds with something called the rat bite. A bear is in hibernation. A rat bites him on the rear end. The bear turns over and is asleep with some discomfort but does not wake up. Springtime comes and thunder wakes the bear. Then he feels pain on his rear end. Then he remembered there was a moment of discomfort some time ago. He looks and sees a festering sore. He deduces that he must have been bitten by an infected rat. This is the argument Master Shantideva gives to describe it as not self-perception of the mind which explains remembering things, seeing an object. Rather, you deduce that you did or saw something you did something or saw something in the past by remembering the thing you perceived, not by remembering your mind perceiving it. So how does this help me? Because once you've had the direct perception of the real nature of the pen, we will know we must have been there and done it, and there will be no doubt. But mind-only school still argues. Now, your mind can watch itself. It's just like a butter lamp. It lights up all things around it, just like the mind can see all things around it. But first it has to light up itself, and then it can light other things. Just so the mind must first perceive itself and then perceive other things. So it must see itself and other things simultaneously. Madhyamika, because they're sarcastic, says, well then, when you turn off your butter lamp, it must surely be bright in your room. And Madhyamika says, what? Mind only says, what? Madhyamika says, well, if we use our own reasoning, darkness, being the opposite of light, would first cover everything, and it would cover itself. Once darkness is covered, everything will become light. The darkness must make everything light. The idea of the mind perceiving mind is equally absurd. The mind perceives 65 different things every finger snap, alternately moving from one to the other, so quickly it looks like my world. The point is, through study, contemplation, meditation, and service, there will come a day when you actually catch yourself watching the illusion directly. That state of mind is also an illusion, but this just means that it seems like it is occurring independent of karma ripening, but it is not occurring independent of karma ripening. So your illusory mind can experience watching the illusion, because this just means you can experience the karma ripening into the image of a pen in your mind and lay it onto the data. What karma will ripen into this experience? Countless good deeds toward others, and sooner or later the projection of having the direct perception of dependent origination will be forced on your mind. Saying things are an illusion does not mean they're ephemeral or unreal. It is to say that everything, me, my mind's moment-to-moment awareness of my world, all the things that I am aware of, are all results of my karma from past thoughts, words, and deeds. It is nothing more than this, so my world in the future will be ripening results of my current behavior. So that's a rather intense description of the illusion. I think the important thing for me is that when we say the word illusion, we're not saying it doesn't exist. We're saying it doesn't exist the way we think it does. If you can keep that thought in your mind as you go through your day, when someone's mad at you or something good happens to you, it's like an illusion because it's not happening the way it looks like it's happening. It's easy to say and it's hard to do, but that's the whole point of our practice and our goal of seeing emptiness directly. So, that's a rather short class. Any questions? That's a lot of material. I think for me the bottom line is this, remembering the fact that it's like when I was taking the diamond cutter from Geshe-la when we first met him, and he kept saying, is this real or unreal? And I kept thinking it was real when it wasn't, it was unreal when it wasn't, because I was overthinking what he was talking about. We're not saying things are not real. We're saying they're real, but for reasons, but not in the way we think they are. If we can grasp onto that and keep that going in our mind all day and night, then it will allow us to, I think, set the seeds for seeing emptiness directly. The question is, can you set the seeds in this life and see it in this life? I think so. But it's not an easy thing to do. You have to serve a lama and serve others. Now that's an interesting point. When you say serve a lama, I encourage students to look at everybody as a teacher. When you open the door for someone opens the door for me, I look at them as my karma ripening to have somebody who doesn't know me from anywhere is opening the door for me. So they're showing me one way for me to collect merit is to do a similar thing. And if I think of the person I'm helping as a powerful karmic object, as my teacher, then I'm getting vastly more merit than if I'm just opening the door for opening the door's sake. So that's why we dedicate. I don't only dedicate to protect it from destroying my root of virtue. I dedicate it because I'm saying to myself, this is a situation that's empty of self-existence. It's due to my karma ripening. Thank goodness I understand that. And I'm not going to be ignorant about it. I'm going to respond with wisdom by dedicating and trying to perpetuate it. So if don't live in the same city as your teacher, whoever it may be, myself or Lama Sarani, you can still, in my opinion, gain lots of good, powerful merit just by seeing others as teaching you a lesson, and it's a lesson in anger management, it's a lesson in courtesy, it's a lesson in morality. I think that's how you collect the merit necessary to see emptiness directly. So, let's dedicate our class. O Gurus, Buddhas, Bodhisattva, please listen to what I now say. Just as all the previous Sugatas generated the mind of enlightenment and practice in accordance with Bodhisattva precepts, so shall I too, in order to benefit all that lives, give birth to bodhicitta and follow its precepts. In all my lives may I never live apart from my perfect lamas, may I bask in the glory of the Dharma, may I fulfill perfectly every level and path and reach then quickly the place where I become myself, the one who holds the diamond. Thank you for the opportunity to teach. This is some pretty heavy slogging. We'll be out of the mind-only school soon and into something that's a little more interesting, at least to me. Okay, we'll see you on Thursday. And
Thank you so much, dear Lama Sumati.
I'll send you the updated notes in just a few minutes, Claire. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, thank you, please stay.
Well, I'm doing my best.